Hello everyone and welcome to Caroline's Craft Tree, and today we are going to paint or start painting our Dragon Journal cover. I'm going to be using my digital kit called Dreaming with Dragons with this build. So in the first part we did all the Mod Podging, all the layering, and it is looking good. So I'm going to start by gessoing. I'm going to gesso in here where the paper is, along the edges, and the front and the back. I've got some gesso in here. I'm using this gesso here. I bought it at a local art place. And I'm going to use a big, huge brush and a little brush. So I'm going to try not to get any around the eye, or on the eye, I should say. So that's where I'm going to start. And I'm just going to put a coat of gesso all over everything. I'm going to do my best to get it down in all the little cracks and whatnot. Now, I don't know much about mixed media and art projects, but I believe gesso just kind of coats everything, makes it easier for other things to stick to it. I'm going to just switch to this little brush, and I want to get down inside the eye. I'm going to do my very best to not get it on the eye. If I get a little bit, I'm not too worried. In my sample, I was able to scrape it off the eye afterwards. I'm going to just turn this around so I can see the other side. Places like inside the eye here, I might just do 2 coats, and I didn't do very good with not getting it on the eye there. So I brought a couple Q-tips with me. And that actually works pretty good. I took a little scraper thing when I was all done the last project, and I used it to scrape the actual eye. I think these eyes are like a resin. There was lots of different eyes to pick from. Okay, let's turn it around again. So it's gonna take a little bit to get it all gessoed. Sorry, concentrating on not getting it on the eye. I'm going to do lots of dabbing on where there is lots of dimension, because I do want to get in all the little cracks and whatnot. I'm not going to be too neat about it, because this will eventually get covered up anyways. So far I'm really happy with how it's turning out. Still doesn't look great. It looks kind of just blotchy and stuff. As I say, everything really looked after I put the brass finishing stuff on. That's when I thought to myself, wow, this is like really cool. And of course we have to let the gesso dry. And then I've got to paint the ends and the other side. So I think I will just skip ahead and I will get all the gessoing done. And then I will come back and show you what it looks like with the gesso complete. So I'll be right back. Okay, so the gesso is all dry. I've got that done. And I've just done where the paper was on the inside because all this has already been gesso. So now comes the fun part where we are going to start painting. Now I have a hunter green, I have some black, I have some white, I have some aqua, and I don't know if I'm going to use all these colors yet, a paradise blue, and then I have this ultra fine glitter, which is in aqua as well. Because I wanted to do a bit of a green with some blues kind of in with it. So I'm going to use my hunter green, but I want some that's darker for mostly just around the eye. So I'm going to put some in there. I'm probably going to need more than that, but let's start with that. And I'm going to add a little bit of black to it, just to darken it up for around that eye. And I'm just going to use a small brush at the moment for around the eye. Can't remember what size of brush I used on my sample project. Just mixing up the black and the green. I will probably do the edge of the book in a darker color as well. And I'm just going to paint it on. I want to put on a fairly dark coat because I only want to do one coat. I think I only did one coat on my sample project. Now, when I first started painting the other one, I was so worried because I'm like, I don't know how to paint. You know, I mean, I know how to paint. You put the paint on a brush and brush it on. But I don't know how to paint in the aspect that, you know, to make it look like something. So I'm just doing my best to not get it on the eye, or as little as possible on the eye. I'm going to paint the white of the eye. I'm going to do that at the very end, but I want to make sure that I get all of this on the inside of the eye done. Just going to, let's turn this book around so then I can do this side. But when I did paint my sample project, I did find out I didn't really need to know how to paint. So that worked out really good. Okay, so that part there is done. And I didn't mix up the paint like super good. And that's okay, because I wanted all different colors. So I just kind of went around the eye, probably, I don't know, 1.5 to 2 inches. Okay, now I'm going to take some more of the same green, and this time I'll use it just the way it is, because now I want to try and get the different color in there. So I'm going to go around, not going into the dark green very much yet. And there is probably many ways to do this. And I'm sure that somebody that knows about painting could do something way better, but that's okay. Change my light mode a little bit there. It seems to be flickering for some reason. I'll probably go over that a little bit more. So I'm just going to put some dark elsewhere. Because I don't want the dark just at the eye. And I'm just going to brush it kind of everywhere. Now on my sample I did not do any blue on it. And I'll put the blue on after I'm done with the greens, I think. But as you brush on the other color, it kind of blends itself in with the dark colors. And that's what I want. And I don't know, I kind of think it's okay if stuff shows through. Like the gesso shows through a little bit in spots. I'm not too worried about that. Right here, I think I need more paint. And I just kind of kept blending it in the best I could. When I get to a rough spot, I just kind of dab it in. Not sure why I'm kind of coming down in a V here, I guess. It just seems right to do it that way. Okay, now I'm going to take the same color again, and this time I'm going to add some white to make it a little bit lighter. Okay, and I'm not worried about cleaning my brush. If the different colors show through, that doesn't really matter. And it's really all the same color anyways. But this was definitely the fun process of this whole thing. So now this color is kind of totally different again. And And I'll probably do some more dark and light as I go along. Do this corner light. And as I say, I think I'll do dark all the way around the edge just to accent the cover a little bit more. And once the copper stuff goes on the very top, it really changes everything. Looking good, looking good, looking good. So this was definitely the funnest part of the journal. But the most rewarding part was putting the brass stuff on it. Because that's when everything really, really popped out. So you don't have to be very careful with putting your paint on. Just go for it. I've been thinking that actually I would like to try and do a dragonfly with wings of all this texture and stuff. I think that would look really, really cool. Not quite sure how I would do it yet, but I think I will give it a try. I'm just working from one color to the next to try to get it blended in. Gee, that looked really good right there where I just put that stuff. Okay. Hard part is when I gotta wait for it to dry because I want to do it all now. I want to get it finished and keep going on it when I make it. Okay, I think I'm going to go back to my medium color and do some in between the light. I want to try and get like as many shades of the green as I can. And I think having the gesso with not, what am I trying to say? Not having like a really heavy cover of paint over all the places. because I think it adds just that much more texture to the whole project. But just blending the different colors together just by sliding my brush through it seems to work. I absolutely am loving this. So I will definitely be doing more mixed media stuff in the future. I want to try to show you all of the painting instead of fast forwarding it or going to, because I want you to see how nice it works out, and that it actually is easy. You just have to do it. You just gotta sit down and play with it, and don't be afraid. If something doesn't look good, I can just take more paint and cover it up. I could put tons of coats on here. I think I'm going to put some more dark over here. And by just running from the dark into the other. But I'm not really pressing down really hard on my paintbrush. So it's just kind of staying on top of the dark stuff, which I think is really, really cool. Let's put some light in there. See, now because that dark was still wet, it's given me a whole different color. Let's drag some of it up into that corner. So then if there's any white showing through, and again, it's not a big deal, but I want to try and cover most of the white that I can. I think I need a little bit more right in there. And when I'm dabbing this, I don't really care what color of green is on my brush, because it just kind of adds more texture. Even just doing that little bit. There's that little bit of different color on there. This certainly has made it so I'm not as scared of doing a project like this now. So the inside I will paint black. So let's do that right now. I'm thinking, what if I did it in a really dark blue? To kind of go with the, oh, that's the other thing, I want to put blue. So let's do that first. I want to put a little bit of blue. I have no idea where. I only want to give it just that little shimmer of blue. So I need to like really spread it out. Actually a really nice pink, like a just got to tilt it up so I can see you. Yeah, I'm liking that. Try to spread some of that blue right out. I'm also thinking that maybe this should be sealed with something. I have no idea what I should seal it with though. I'll have to do a little research on what I could seal this with. Okay. Just adding a few touches of blue. Let me know what you think of this. I really like that blue on there. This side here is a little bit dark, but I'm going to put a little tiny bit of green on that, I think. Just, that part's a little too blue, I think. Because if I sealed it, then it would get any little spots that, like right here, there's a little paper that's not glued right down. I want to try to get just a little bit of blue a little closer to the eye. Just the tiniest amount. Just to give it a little bit of extra. I'm really liking this. Liking. Okay. Some of the blue actually is not showing up as good as I thought it would. Love it around the black of the eye though. Just put a little bit down here. I want to kind of make it kind of all over. Okay, now I want to fix that part up, so let's add a little bit of the lighter green. So, you know, that didn't take much to dullen that blue down, just that tiny little bit. But I feel I need a little more solid color there, and that's just what I'm doing, is just trying to see what looks good. If I don't like the way it looks, I can change it that little bit. But there does come a point where you just gotta say, okay, I think that's enough. Okay, now I'm going to add some black to this blue because I want to make a really dark blue to add into his eye. I think the blue will just kind of I don't think this really made a dark blue, but it's kind of more of a steel gray, but that's okay. think I want to get a smaller paintbrush. So I'm going to try quite a small paintbrush. Hopefully I can stay in frame while I do this. Kind of got to get way in there. I'm not sure how that looks or not. So I will have to do the edges in the back after this dries. After it dries too, I'll decide if I like that grayish color in there or if I want to go with just black. It's kind of hard to see in there. Thinking, oh no, that wouldn't work. I was thinking that maybe I'd be better off to paint this black, but then I can't do that because when I paint everything with gesso, then it's going to get all over. Really trying to concentrate on not getting that all over. Okay, I think that's pretty good. Got lots of leftover paint, but what I did last night was I'm making some dragon skin paper. Now I just took a 12 by 12 sheet of paper that I hated. It's tea dyed. And I've got just cheesecloth and just the pattern paper scrunched up. So I'm going to be painting this, and then I'm going to use it for projects inside the journal, such as pockets or tags, etc. So I'm doing 2 of those. So I'm going to use up some of this excess paint, and I'm going to paint those up. So I'll be doing that as well. So I see a big spot of white right there. Lots of white spots right there. Once your paint starts to dry, then you tend to see the white spots even more. It's really hard to get them all, but we try. And I don't know, I don't think it really affects what the journal looks like. I think it'll just be a matter of personal preference. Okay, so hope you like this part. I'm going to paint the inside off of camera, and then when it's all dried and stuff, we'll come back, we'll take a look and see what we have. Okay, so the paint is all dry. I think it looks awesome. I'm happy with it. I did do the edge in a dark. So now comes the best part. Now I use this here, and I got it used. It is a Finnabar. Can't quite read it right there. Finnabar or something like that. It's by Prima Marketing. Anyways, it's a aged brass. I got it used from somebody. And when I was making my sample, I thought, why not? So I'm just going to use my finger and I'm just going to rub it over the surface. Now, when I started it, I had never used this before. So I started just really light, almost just see the weight of my finger, like, because I don't want to push it down. I just want to highlight those big spots. But you can see how that just brings it right out. Some places you could go a little heavier, some places not so heavy, but I just put a little bit on my finger and spread it around. Not only is this fun to do, it really, really adds that extra touch to this that makes it just really super nice. And then if you could see me, I'm sitting here with a big grin on my face because I just love how it's turning out. Now you wouldn't have to do this all over, but I love the effect it gives, so I am going to do it all over. I'm going to put some on the very edge as well. I'll do that after. And I am going to do just the outside here, because you're going to see that when the paper goes on in there. But just look how that makes it just stand out, all those high points. Now you could easily use a different color. I think I have a silver and a gold as well, but I just really like the copper. I'm trying not to get too much on my finger, so I usually just dab my finger in there. Just to... So let's put some on the spine. The spine doesn't have as many three-dimensional things on it. It's looking so good. Love it. I'm not quite sure how to get, maybe if I try this, I can get some along there for the rough spots. It's hard to get down in that crease with my finger. Or maybe I can go like this and get it. There we go, that's better. But yeah, it would look good with silver or gold on it. Just gonna put her on fast forward and finish this up. Okay, so there is all that on there. But I think I want to add just a little bit, just along the edges here, just to pick up any of the rough spots. Tried to keep the edge fairly smooth. This stuff dries pretty much instantly. I'm going to put some of this onto the 2 pages I made as well. Okay, so what do you think? Try to do a close-up. I think it looks absolutely wonderful. I am going to coat it with, I think, with matte medium. I need to find out if that's the right stuff to use. Not 100% sure. But I'll just ask a couple people I know that do mixed media and find out. But I'm pretty sure that's what matte medium is for. So I will just coat it and then I'll show you in the next video. And the next video on this Dreaming of Dragons journal build, I will be showing you the pages and what order I'm going to put the pages in. It's going to be a 2 signature book. And we'll just go from there. See you soon. Bye.